Stop that. Stop that. Stop that. Yeah. I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the walking. Dress too sharp with the prize. White girls let it tell me I'm awesome. Yeah. Hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch my please use caution. Cold like 0 degrees. I'm out the cage, gotta let out the beast. Revolutionary, gotta let out the streets. Locked in a cage, I'ma let out the sheets. We came for one man, forget my peace. You take the west side, take on the east. I'ma put him in the cage, never let out the. I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the boys. Not so tough when lines keep walking. Yeah, just too sharp with the prize. White girls, let it tell me I'm awesome. Yeah, hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch my please use caution. Stop that. Stop that. Stop that.
One of the most reviled words for me in sports right now is the word documentary.
Why?
Stugotz, I am sick and tired of documentaries. Not because documentaries are bad,
Right.
as a whole. There are some great documentaries that have been made.
Yep,
Sports
The Last Dance.
documentaries.
Yep.
That's not one of them. That's a great commercial. That's an excellent commercial. I love The Last Dance.
Right.
But because very quickly I realized, maybe like 15 minutes in, like, oh, we're doing one big Nike, Gatorade, McDonald's ad. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm here for it. The reason I hate documentaries in sports as a catch-all is because what I've discovered, actually, you know what? I take it back. I need to thank all of these documentaries. I am sorry for saying I hate you. Reverse course.
Wow.
Thank you.
What
Didn't
happened
see that
there?
coming.
Because what I've come to realize is things that I thought were common knowledge, none of you bastards was paying attention at all. At all. At all.
Like what?
I'll give you a great example.
Okay.
A great recent example. The Steve McNair documentary on the Untold series on Netflix. I just watched something about this like 3 years ago. First of all, I lived it. I remember it when it was going on.
You were there for that?
I was alive and an adult when Steve McNair passed away, when he was murdered. So,
Right, yes.
like the news story unfolding, we knew about it. Then there was a documentary that came out like a couple of years ago. Watch that as well. And so Netflix comes along with their Untold series talking about Steve McNair, and I'm like, okay, let's see what you got. And it was like, yeah, we knew this already. But I got to hear everyone be like, oh, my God, did you know that Steve McNair was murdered? Yes, I did. As did everyone else who was old enough to buy a pack of cigarettes when it happened.
Was the first documentary good? The first McNair documentary. I was not aware there was a first. I thought this was the first one.
No, I thought it was good. I thought it was decent. But what I've discovered is your evaluation of whether a documentary is good or not basically comes down to, have you heard about any of this before?
Right.
I went through this with Mike Fuentes right before the show started. He went through a list of like the Untold series. Untold series in particular, to me, is really shallow documentaries. Mike Fuentes went through a list and he named the ones that he thought were actually pretty good. And all of them were like the ones that we knew nothing about. One about minor league hockey. One about a woman boxer who was like had a hit on her or something like that, like a murder hit on her. It's all the stuff that we know at least a little bit about. We're like, yeah, this is kind of weak. And the latest in this series is the Connor Stallions thing, which, by the way, there's got to be a moratorium. You can't have a documentary less than 12 months after the shit happened. You cannot have a documentary.
I think you're right about that.
It's an ABC News report. It's Dateline at that point.
Yeah.
It's not a documentary.
Right.
But Jessica, you watched. I refused. I was like, I already know this on some bullshit.
I watched it last night, and I tweeted this, so I'm recycling a joke here. They should rename the series Told, because I learned nothing. This had already been told. So like the big story about this documentary in particular was that Connor Stallion sat for an interview. And so like to your point, I mean, if this had been a sit-down interview with a journalist, I think it would have been a better avenue for putting this out there. But instead, they framed it as like this big revealing documentary that really just rehashed sort of the same thing over and over again. He claims that, you know, he didn't do any advanced scouting and that maybe people happened to use tickets that he had and happened to film things, but it wasn't sort of like this operation being done by Michigan. And there were a bunch of like Michigan fans that were in the documentary sort of saying like, everyone just hates us. Like we won the national championship. Haha, suck it. And like, that was like the extent of it. And there was sort of no like, additional reporting that was done that would have like added to things that we already knew from last year when the reporting came out.
The signature of an untold documentary, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you this. Number one, access. Mm-hmm. We got a central figure from this thing to sit down. Right. Number two.
There's more than one signature, huh?
Exactly. Several signatures.
It's like the Declaration of Independence.
Yes.
We've got a big signature.
There's John
and
Hancock,
a bunch of little signatures.
Right.
then Thomas Jefferson, everybody else, right?
Okay.
Number two, you have to have, in order to get that access, to let that person say whatever the hell they want with zero pushback. Those are the two hallmarks right there. You get someone that, like, damn, they got so-and-so to sit down, and then you realize, they got them to sit down because they let them say whatever the hell they want and did not push back or investigate any of their claims. They just took it on face value. A great example of this, Stugotz, was the Tim Donaghy documentary that Untold did.
Right.
A lot of people were like, wow, that's crazy. I remember LeBron tweeted about it. Oh, my God. It just goes to show. Because Tim Donaghy would say things like, we're reffing Heat versus Knicks, and I knew that Derek Stafford hated Pat Riley, so I bet the over on Knicks free throws. And then they just said, okay, and they moved on, and the Knicks shot more free throws than the Heat, and so many people took it and ran with it. Remember, we did this on Basketball Illuminati, me and Tom Habistro.
Yes.
We went back. Tom went back and watched that game, and he was right.
Let Stu tell you he remembers.
There were more foul calls for the Knicks than there were against the Miami Heat. But then Tom did something very interesting. He said, let me see who's making the calls. Derek Stafford called like 6 fouls against the Heat, or 6 fouls on the Heat and 5 on the Knicks. So a little bit towards Miami, but like by 1.
Right.
The other ref had, I think, 4 on the Knicks and 3 on the Heat. Tim Donaghy had like 12 fouls called on the Heat and like 4 on the Knicks. So yes, he was right. He knew who was going to shoot more free throws. He knew because there was a ref who was crooked in that game, but it wasn't Derek Stafford. It was Tim Donaghy. And anyone worth their salt would have sat down, watched the shit, and verified what this man, this pathological liar, is saying. And so when we come to this Connor Stallions thing, and we walk away with, I guess Michigan didn't do anything at all. Like, there was no pushback. There was no rebuttal or even deep investigation of what this man is saying. They took everything, Stugotz, on surface level.
That Donaghy episode was my favorite episode. What's on the show this week?
This week is, I thought we just talked about it, Connor Stallions.
Basketball Illuminati?
Oh, no, that show doesn't exist anymore.
Sorry. Huh.
How's Stupidity doing?
Not well.
Oh, shit. Okay.
I was trying to help you out there. I didn't know the show was canceled. I'm sorry.
We don't have to play this game. We've all got one.
We all got one. Yeah, I was hoping with Dan out, we would not talk documentaries. Are we talking sports media next? Kelsey's, McAfee? What do you want to do?
Hold on.
Stugotz, tell us your takeaways from the U.S. Open last night. Let's start with that.
No.
I didn't watch.
No. Stugotz.
Walk us through a night with you. What did you do?
Last night, what did I do? I got home. Let's see. What did I do last night? I got home. I did a little work, Billy. I got organized. I was looking for flights for Kansas City. I took a couple of gummies, Valhalla, 40 milligrams, by the way. I went out to the driving range. I chipped a few balls. I went to the putting green.
It's a full day.
Then I picked up dinner for my wife and my daughter.
What did we eat?
We had a Hurricane Grill.
Hurricane Bar and Grill? Nice.
Yeah, it was great. Okay. Some wings, honey barbecue for me, plain for Abby. I think Rachel had garlic wings. I don't like garlic on my
Abby
wings.
go sauce on the side, or?
She goes plain with blue cheese.
Okay.
Yeah, extra crispy.
Yeah.
Grilled or fried?
She goes fried. She likes fried wings. Yeah. But she likes small wings. So Hurricane is great because they're not too meaty. You know, I don't like meat on my wings. Too much meat.
You like
Bad.
a bony wing.
What?
I don't like too much meat. When they're too thick, especially the drumsticks, I don't like that. Too meaty.
You like less food.
No. I just like a nice compact wing. That's all. I don't like a lot of chicken on it, you know?
What's the argument against too much chicken?
You know the bulky wings?
Yes.
You know, occasionally you get like a bulky
Yeah,
wing.
it looks like a Flintstones type of drumstick.
Yeah, I want it to be tight. I don't want it to be bulky.
You want
That's all.
You want the chicken in the gym. You want the chicken
Yeah.
conditioned,
Get it right, get
A
it
little
tight.
emaciated.
not emaciated, like just fit. Gets its steps in, this chicken.
So then we were done with that. We had dinner. We sat around. I took a shower. I had dessert. I had another gummy.
Another.
I watched something. I don't remember what it is that I watched. Oh, I watched Accident. Have you guys seen this on Netflix? Accident?
What
it's
is
the
that?
number 2 show right now. So they have a birthday party.
This is the one with the bounce house?
The Bounce House.
No way. You watched it?
Yeah, it's crazy. It is crazy. So this guy, they have a birthday party for this guy's son.
Is this fictional or is this like a?
It's fictional.
This is a documentary.
Yeah.
Continues to guys.
So they have a birthday party for this guy's son. He's wealthy. He's got a nice house, beautiful backyard. They invite all the best friends over, and he's waiting on a phone call. And this call is to see whether or not he has closed this deal for him and his partners. That is like a $40 to $60 million deal.
Really quick, is it a reenactment or is it like we're getting like like a sit down interview on grainy original footage?
Original footage from like a Ring camera in the
Okay,
backyard.
gotcha.
So
All right.
this is also, from what I'm reading, this is a non-English TV show. So you're watching it with subtitles, or was it like dubbed over in English?
It's dubbed over in English.
Got it.
And subtitles. How about that?
Nice.
That
Two for
seems
one there.
redundant.
Yeah, just in case.
Double your
Right.
trouble.
In case you don't understand English.
Yeah, I don't know why they did it.
Double down.
Okay.
All right,
I'm not a movie maker. I'm not a television show maker, Billy. I'm just telling you what I saw.
you're a consumer, and that's important, Stugotz.
How'd you land on this, by the way, of all things out there?
Listen,
The title got Stu. It would have gotten me.
I scroll around Netflix
on accident?
I don't like Netflix. They changed the way that it looks, right? Or was that just me?
I think that's just you.
Really?
My Netflix looks the same.
Guys,
Well, how's yours look?
don't let them change the way that it
Wait,
looks.
how's yours look?
Wild.
What do you
I
mean?
can't find anything.
Well, what are you talking
It's
about?
wild. So before you would have like basically like almost like a grid system, right? Where
Yeah.
you go down.
I
Oh,
still
wow.
have. I
Yeah,
still
it's on
have
the
that.
grid.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, I
Top-
still
top-
have
Bad
look
news
like?
is coming your way, my
Hold on.
friends.
So just to,
Impossible to find things now.
update.
wait, to clarify, my Netflix looks like this. At the top and the biggest square is whatever the new thing
The
they're pushing.
featured
Yeah.
one. Yes.
Then they've got top 10 in the U.S. Then
No.
they've got stuff that you were watching.
Continue
you wanna-
watching.
Continue
you wanna
watching.
continue watching.
Love continue
top
Then they
10
got-
TV shows, top 10 movies.
Then they got one where it's like
We
things-
picked these for you.
We picked these for you. There you
Right.
go. And then
Hold your Netflix tight and hug it every night so that you don't miss these days of having this Netflix
What do you
because
have?
the end is coming for you very soon. They changed the way that it looks and it is a disaster.
you're not telling me what do you
It's
have.
basically like they got rid of like all of the stuff on the side. So like before on the side you would have like TV, movies, my stuff. Yeah, like a menu, right? Now they changed it and there's like 3 little words on the top. There's like no lines, and then it became like someone decided let's play around with how many different size rectangles we can have and put them all over the place. So like there's a giant rectangle like at the top, and then there's like smaller like squares, kind of like the grid that existed before, but like lines are gone, and it's like everything's together. It's very confusing. There's no like it's hard to find like the little titles like, oh, you want to see this because you watched, I don't know, Superbad or something, right? Like it's very confusing now. I don't like change. The new Netflix, not for me. So much so that I've straight up just I'm not doing Netflix today. Like I'll go there and I'm like, I can't with this right now. I'll go to Peacock. I'll go somewhere else. I can't do Netflix right now.
You go to Max.
I go to Max. I am telling you this. I don't
I know.
I don't know our partnerships, but
I know how to take Max is one of them.
no, it's
That's why-
this isn't a Max thing.
That's why I threw that.
Here's the thing. I'm not gonna name names. But there's
the
a
basket
show
I'm
that
dunking on?
I think this show's called Bad Monkey.
Oh yeah.
Not gonna name names. Not gonna
That's
put any
a-
potential partners
Apple.
out there.
Bill
but
Lawrence.
I am
You can name
for
Bill
the
Lawrence.
first time considering ending a subscription and then like restarting it like 2 months from now so I could just binge a show. Because I
'cause
don't
It's once a week.
I don't know that I necessarily need to have a subscription to watch this show every week when it's out. If I could just kind of catch it on the tail end,
I
if it's not
save
something.
money,
like I have
watch it all at once.
I have certain ones that like
Right.
I'll watch a show here, I'll watch a show there, but it's not like a continuous thing that I'm always going there. No names.
So Billy, I get exactly what you're saying because I, in general, appreciate the show that comes out weekly. I like the anticipation,
Same.
especially like,
Yes.
hey guys, what happened? What do you think is gonna happen next week?
You guys are
Like
old.
Shogun. Shogun was
Shogun
great.
was
It was
great.
once a week.
Well, no, like mysteries are ones like that where like, okay, for example,
Game of Thrones.
yesterday a new season of Only Murders in the Building came out.
There you go.
Now that's one that some people enjoy like binge watching because they can catch up. But that's another one that because it's like a murder mystery situation, like you can come up with your own theories and you can
Right.
theorize over the span of a week. And you're like, did you see this? Did you see that? Do you think this person did this? Do you think they did that? So like that's one. Honestly, I watched it last night. I have friends. I'm like, Only Murders in the Building came out. Which, by the way, if we're gonna be honest,
You didn't text me.
More me.
I didn't know you watched it. You guys watched that?
We talked about it like 1,000
I
times.
introduced you to it.
That's not true.
Exactly right.
Like years ago.
That's
Season 1.
falsehoods if I've ever heard.
Go back and look it up.
You're not his friends. I mean,
Look this up where? Where would I look that up? You
Well,
wanna just go through
where would you look it up? It's almost like we don't live our lives recorded for 3 to 4
correct. But
hours
I'm
a
gonna
day.
go through what, like September of the year 2020 to like listen to like.
Yes,
When
exactly.
was Amin on? Let me see if Amin
We
introduced me.
talked about it on Mystery
Jeremy,
Crate.
get
We
on
talked
that.
about it here.
I'm sorry,
Yeah,
Billy.
but that doesn't mean that Amin introduced me to it.
It does.
I think so.
Okay, fine. We'll agree to agree here.
Jeremy
Amin
will
introduced
agree
me
to
the show.
disagree.
No,
Yeah.
agree to agree. I agree with Amin.
Thanks,
He
Chris.
Everyone's
introduced
a
me to
little
the show.
cranky today. It's weird.
No, so who is?
You.
Me?
You, yeah.
No, I'm not.
Ethan, look
I'm
at
get
firing on all cylinders.
Can we get back to the accident?
I
I want
will.
to hear about the show.
We'll get there.
I will in a
He's
second.
cranky about
Yeah, I will.
Netflix. He's cranky about being introduced
Guys,
to
when
shows.
you get this Netflix, you're going to feel the same way.
Zach cranky.
Your world is going to end. You're not going to feel the same after you've seen the new Netflix. I'm telling you right now, you don't want the new Netflix. Don't do anything. Don't touch anything. Don't change anything. That's one of those things where you accidentally hit the wrong thing and then you update something and your world is so much worse off. You don't want the new Netflix. But anyways, what were we talking about?
The accident.
Only Murders in the Building, you have to wonder how many times people around them can get killed, right? Like, we're by season 4.
That's how I feel about Murder, She Wrote. I'm like, she lives in like this little island near Cape Cod. How are so many people getting murdered?
Those
around
tiny
Jessica
towns I
Parker?
never get. I used to think that all the time about Pretty Little Liars. It's like, guys, there's someone out here killing people.
At least
Find
in-
the criminal. How
Thank
hard
you.
is it? This is a town of 37 people. It's one of them.
Billy, you know what we should have as the final season? They actually murder somebody.
Who?
The
They
gang.
do. Martin Short.
Yeah.
and
I
Steve Martin.
Steve Martin also.
There's been some seasons that I thought, you know what?
But that's how they should end it.
You know?
They should actually kill somebody and then I'll go to jail.
It would be Martin Short, right?
No,
Like he's the
Steve
most
Mar-
desperate.
Steve Martin.
He's definitely killed.
Steve Martin, definitely. Because he's a failed actor and he's sick and tired of people kind of like.
But he had success and he has money. Martin Short's always kind of been like the guy that he had
the
that
fringe.
accident
They all
where
have
spoiler
motives.
alert. Spoiler alert. He
yeah,
had
and
that
Selena
situation.
Gomez too. Yeah, all three of them.
She's-
Steve
yeah.
Martin too.
I'm not gonna get into what happened in the first episode. But
Good
just-
first episode?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch tonight.
slightly different than the other seasons so far, but this is a show that some people like to binge because they want to see what happens week after week, and then this is another show that people like us like to then theorize. So since we all watch this show, let's kind of make a pact right now, so we can almost have a Only Murders in the Building book club
Pinkies up, everybody.
where we can discuss. Jess, are you in on this?
My pinky's up.
I see that.
There you go.
So what days, gang, are we going to watch this so that then we can kind of discuss
What
it?
days does it come out?
I think Tuesdays.
Tuesdays.
Because I saw it yesterday.
on Hulu.
On Hulu, yeah, Hulu.
Your grandfather did on that
The
one,
thing
too.
is, Billy, college football season started, and the NFL season about to start, and the WNBA season's still going
Yeah.
on, and like I'm pretty swamped.
It's a Tuesday.
It's a Tuesday. It's a Tuesday show.
There's
Tuesday,
basketball on Tuesday.
right.
Yeah, but you got 30 minutes on a Tuesday.
Yeah, there's a 39er.
30 minutes?
Yeah, it's a
Is it 30?
39er,
You don't have
but I
30
think it's a
minutes on
long
a
That's
one.
Tuesday?
episode one.
I think,
It's a
no,
Tuesday.
you're right. I do have 39
I think we're
minutes.
going to
Right.
flirt with
I
like
thought it was
32 to
like a 60
37.
Tuesday's your day.
No,
I
there's a
mean,
39er.
39 is because
I
it's
can-
episode one.
I think
Episode
I
one is
can
always
do
That's
it.
what I'm saying. I think we're going to flirt with 32, 37.
What
Exactly.
season
Max.
are we on, by the way? Is this
4.
season 4?
You haven't seen any
So,
before?
I saw seasons 1 and 2,
Uh-huh.
but I didn't.
3
see
was a
season
big one.
3.
Season 3, you want me to tell you what happened?
Don't tell
Oh,
her.
don't
There's,
tell her.
there's
Nah,
a
don't
big
do that.
spoiler in 3. Come on.
The
Before-
problem is that we've reached the level of success on the show where now it's just cameo city. It's
Well,
just constant.
to be
Well,
honest-
That was
okay.
my issue after season 1.
To be honest, it was
true.
always that kind
Hang
of
on a
thing.
second.
No, but because
Billy,
Sting was in season 1, and it's like, hey, you're Sting,
Which was
and then
great, by the way.
and then season 2 was just was like, Amy Schumer lives in our building now. And it's like, wait, what?
Yeah.
And then that was like the whole thing of Amy Schumer. Like, here she is in like an episode or two, and it's just like, she's Amy Schumer.
Did I get ball sacked, or is Martin Short now dating Meryl Streep?
In
No,
real
that
life?
seems to be
Yes.
happening in real life.
Really?
Yeah, they're like holding hands on
That
red
doesn't make
carpets.
sense. No way.
Wow, life
She was in
imitating
season
art.
I love
That
it.
is
She
weird.
was in season
She was one of the
Yeah.
main characters of season 3.
Love interest.
Was she playing herself?
No.
Oh,
Down
okay.
on her luck
Is my
actress.
pinky still supposed to be up?
Do you
Oh
think-
yeah, I put mine down. Sorry, mine's back
Do you
up.
think? Do you
Sorry.
think?
Pinky's up?
Do you think they met and started dating on set, or were they already dating and he got her the job?
No,
Well, she
got her the
recently got
job.
divorced
You know, I
from
mean-
her husband, who
well,
was
there
like
you
a
go.
famous
He got her
sculptor.
the job?
You know.
I don't know.
Right.
Well, you
hold
make
on.
it seem like she's actually this down on her luck actress that can't get work without dating
on.
Martin Short.
You're pushing
Get
back.
outta
You're
here.
pushing back.
No,
on this?
I'm just saying, like, I have my issues with Meryl Streep. I think she's an overrated actress.
Guys, pinkies
go.
up.
Okay.
What?
Keep the
Speaking
pinkies up.
of Martin Short is the guy that's along for the ride.
What a
in that
talent,
equation.
Martin
way.
Short,
Yes.
huh?
No way.
He's
I
incredible.
really like Martin Short.
Really?
He's funny.
He's
Oh, I thought you said
annoying.
you don't really
No,
like.
I
was
do
about
like
to
him.
say,
Oh, no,
he's
Father of the
annoying.
Bride, he was incredible.
No, I said I like him.
Oh, what
Steve
a-
Martin also I
Yeah.
like.
Absolutely.
Yeah, not
and,
less so.
And also Steve Martin. But Stugotz
Fuck
is
Larry
asking,
Kill. Steve Martin, Martin Short, Selena Gomez. Let's play.
Well,
No,
Boom.
we're not playing.
Yeah.
Well, it's probably a bad idea.
Stugotz
Pinky still
says
up?
Martin
Pinky's
Short
up.
is just along for the ride. And Stugotz, I'm saying absolutely not. He's the one with one of the hottest shows in America. What has she done lately? I'll wait.
That's a fair point. I mean, but I feel like Martin Short is always one of those guys that gets plugged into a movie because Steve Martin's in the movie and he's more famous and he wants Martin Short in the movie.
Are you just going off of Three Amigos?
Three Amigos, yeah. So anyway, there's this birthday party that he's having for his kid, right, his son, and he has one of those bounce houses there. And he was responsible for nailing in the final stake, right, for hammering that thing in.
Oh no!
But then he got a phone call, and it was the phone call he had been waiting for days.
Changed his life, that phone call.
Yes.
in
and
more ways than one, it seems.
Oh, I'm in.
And so he got up and he ran inside because he was so excited to take the phone call and he forgot to hammer in that final stake. So as he's taking the phone call and they're saying, hey, you got the deal, $40 million, $60 million, what is happening is, unbeknownst to him, is that the bouncy house is flying away with 5 or 6 kids on it. And 4 of them or 5 of them die. They find one of them. Yeah, no. And now it has torn his life apart. It has torn their marriage apart.
Did
all
his
their
kid
friendships
survive?
apart. No, one of his friends, his son died.
So,
His son.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
his son died. yes.
Question. All right,
And so now he's living with his guilt. And should he turn himself in? And what does he do?
There's a lot of questions.
Yeah.
I got a question. Okay, so
Great
I,
show.
I am a wealthy man with a big deal on the line, right? I'm wealthy enough to have a huge backyard and wealthy enough to get this bouncy house for my kid's birthday. Yet I refuse to pay someone else to fucking do this shit. I'm gonna be hammering stakes.
No, no,
myself.
no, no.
If you hire someone, you should not be the one staking it in. I
Hell
would
no.
think.
Time out. He did hire someone. He has someone, a family that works at the house, okay? The wife needed ice.
But this is
So-
probably a wait.
Time
what?
out. He was hammering in the stake, okay? Their maintenance guy, was hammering in the stake, and the wife needed ice. And so the husband said, hey, go get the ice. We need it now. I will take care of the bouncy house.
Hold on a second.
How about that?
If this is a rental, the people you rent it from would set
Yes!
it up, not someone that works for you at the
Ooh,
house.
like the business we wanted to start.
Don't.
Was that Zagacki?
Number one. Number two, Billy.
There shouldn't be one stake that's important.
I was going to say 3 stakes. I think you should be locked in on 3
Well,
stakes.
also-
There's not just one stake. The one stake missing shouldn't have allowed this to happen.
But also,
there's just suspect.
honey, we need ice. Hey, John, stop doing the manual labor and just go hop in the car and get this ice. I'll do this thing that requires manual labor and skill.
Yeah.
Instead of
but
just getting ice.
Can I also was there like a derecho or something? Like what? How did this thing just like pick up and leave
Great
with
question.
children in it?
I know what that is.
There was
for
a
those
big
who don't.
windstorm
Un
that
derecho.
came by and, picked it up and carried it away. And then you see, like
Like
see
the
these
boat.
families watching their kids fall from the bouncy house.
Does this ever
you know?
happen in real life? Is
Yes.
that-
I'm certain
Absolutely.
it has. Yeah.
Really?
There was Balloon
Yeah.
Boy that flew away in the balloon.
I
Then we
remember
found out.
Balloon
Yeah, but he was
Boy.
never in the balloon. That was a big lie.
That was a
We were
time.
covering that live on the show. That's how old this show is.
Wha-
Hey,
wha-
happy 20th, everyone.
Watch this. There's going to be a documentary, Untold, Balloon Boy. And people are going to be like, did you know there was a boy who was in a balloon that got blown away?
Yeah, that was a crazy person.
Yeah.
Made it all up for attention.
You know what was a good show?
What's that?
Oz.
Ooh.
Great show. The Wire.
Speaking of Meryl Streep,
Barry. I mean, God, Big Little Lies
Just
on
strong
Max.
shows.
F-Boy Island.
Dun, 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 dun. We're going to be joined by fantasy expert Matthew Berry in just a moment. But first, it's Sowie Week, and today we've got Best Laugh. Hit it.
And now, the Sowie nominees for Best Laugh. Alex Rodriguez, Andy Reid, Bernie Williams, Alonzo Mourning, Ben Schwartz, Adnan Verk,
Dead.
Adam Schefter, Kenny G, Joy Taylor, Kathy Griffin,
I don't know the
Jim Larrañaga, Katie Nolan, very good, Jake Tapper, Jay Billis, Jake Plummer, George the Iceman Gervin, Gabriel Iglesias, a.k.a. Fluffy, Dan Soder, Dan Patrick, L. Duncan,
I know where you're going.
Semifinals.
Christian Wilkins, Dan Hurley, Chris Whittingham, Chris Mad Dog Russo, Chris Felica, a.k.a. The Bear, Carlos Boozer, Chris Cody.
Expert.
No, this is not good. It doesn't seem clean.
Okay.
Chris
Brooks Koepka,
He's laughing at you.
Calvin Johnson, Boogie Cousins, Brad Williams, Tim Kirchin, Spencer Hall, Tom Thibodeau, Adam Schefter's mom, Shirley, Stan Van Gundy, Sammy Sosa, Robert Griffin III,
thank you.
Scott Van Pelt, Rob Delaney, Sam Morrill, Princess Claire Bellamy, Rich Eisen,
Come
Rex Chapman, Randy Moeller, a.k.a. Red Deer, Ramona Shelburne,
Right?
Poppy Le Batard,
You know, even pants, you know, even football, you know.
Mina Kimes, the Bat Boy who was fired by David Sampson, Nick Cirillo, Michelle Beadle,
Oh, thank you.
Mike McDaniel, Method Man, Lando Norris, Lil Dicky, Marrow, LaMarcus Aldridge, Marty Smith, Wayne Newton, Carl Weathers, Shooter McGavin, Dan Le Batard,
Nothing. Nothing.
Charlotte Wilder, Amin El Hassan, Billy Gill,
They relocated.
Stugotz, Tony Kaladiud, Roy Bellamy,
Hey, the threesomes.
Roy Wood Jr.,
Yeah.
Parakeet Cortez, Ron McGill, Pablo Torre, Mike Ryan, Jessica Smetana, Juju Gotti,
One of them.
Jeremy Taché,
That's all I got on
A
it.
laugh was that?
Greg Cody. He's never heard the phrase necking. Izzy Gutierrez. Hear it. Wait. David Sampson.
Yeah.
Dominique Foxworth. LPGA golfer who went viral for smoking heaters, Charlie Hull.
A fun game to play there that I was trying to do is which one of these were real laughs and which one were fake.
A lot of fake laughs.
Fully admit mine was super fake.
So was mine. Yeah.
No.
That was actually one of your genuine ones, Stugotz. That's why I put it in.
How do you decipher? I mean,
You can kind of tell with you.
do you guys like listening to your own laughter?
No.
I don't. Yeah.
I do when it's real. When I really belly laugh, it's a fun thing. I feel like there's several people who have great belly laughs. Jessica, you're one of them. You got a great laugh. Like
When I was younger, people told me that when I died, my laugh would go straight to hell.
Damn.
Because it was so annoying.
Say hi to our Bryles.
It's a compliment, I think. Somewhere in there's a compliment.
Like the rest of me's in heaven. That's the compliment, I guess. But it's like, no, your laugh sucks.
Who told you this?
My friends.
How old were you?
I don't know. Not old.
So wait, let me get this straight. So for them, your laugh is something of
Evil.
Satan. Yeah, there it is. 2025, ladies
Couple
and gentlemen.
villainous laughs there. My bad.
No, what you got?
No, the George Gervin villainous.
Oh,
He
yeah.
misspoke.
He was like,
His echoed everywhere. It was like the count, right? But that's his real laugh. I know.
I
Yes,
thought
ma'am.
Princess Claire's is going to be tough to beat.
Yeah.
In that category.
That one's up there. Greg Cody's good because
Greg Cody's great.
he almost dies during his. And then Katie Nolan because she goes, wee, at the end.
Greg sacrificed the most for his submission. I think that we can say that.
Left it all out
accurately.
on the line.
I like Charlie Hall's too.
Yeah. So you said
Little horn.
like old school, those convertibles, but they weren't convertibles back then. It was just that's what a car looked like.
That, yes.
All right, we'll go right now to the phone line. We've got the one and
phone
only-
line.
The phone line.
I love that. Resetting it, baby. It's
Wow,
time
the
and temp.
phone line.
9:34 on Monday
That
morning.
is so good.
9:34. It's what's that? 84 degrees outside, mostly cloudy, and we go to Matthew Berry
On the Miller Lite hotline.
Rocking with you on a Wednesday.
And Matthew, we just went through our best laughs of the year. Do you have a good laugh, or do you have what your friends would classify as a laugh that should be sent straight to hell?
I think I'm somewhere in the middle. I definitely don't think I have a great laugh, but I'm also not one of those, snort, disgusting, like what was that kind of laugh. Somewhere in the middle. Very, very mid, I believe is what the kids say.
Mid is almost bad now. When you say something
Mid is bad.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not even middle of the road. It's something less than to be desired.
It's not like listen. It's not a great laugh. It's not one that I'm going to sit here and be like, listen. You know who's got a killer laugh? Like with two thumbs. This guy. Like whatever. It's a laugh. It's a decent laugh. I don't know. If you say something funny, maybe we'll find out.
Damn. Now the pressure's on me.
Matthew, how many drafts have you done already? How many drafts?
Oh, not counting mock drafts, right? Like
Yeah.
actual drafts.
Actual drafts, yes.
I think 20, 21, something like that. I'm in the middle. I'm in the middle of 6 or 7 right now.
All right.
Slow drafts.
All right, so how many mock drafts?
Hundreds. I don't know. Way too many.
Do you ever get tired of it? Like, do you wake up and you're just like, you know what? I don't want, no one asked me today, Caleb Williams or Brock Purdy.
See, now that's a different question, Stugotz. Like the part that I don't get tired of like drafting, that's always fun. I do get tired of there are moments where you're just sort of like, yeah, I don't know, man. Figure out your own sleeper. Like, there are times if I'm the two things that drive me crazy are, and that's excessive, but the two things that are annoying sometimes are, number one is like, if I'm out with my kids or I'm trying to do something, there'll be times where whatever, I'm stuck in traffic. I get to the airport and I'm late. I got 10 minutes to get to my gate. And someone wants to take me through their dynasty team. And it's
That's Stugotz.
It's April. And I'm like, dude, they're going to close the gate and I'm, and I don't want to be rude here, but, or if I'm out with my kids or something like that. So that happens. Or the other thing I don't like is an open-ended question, which is right. So, for those of us, ESPN alumni and John Sawatsky.
Yeah.
Shout out to the great John Sawatsky and pointed questions. But I'll get well, who's a sleeper? And you're just I've studied over 400 players at this point in my life, right? I mean, for this year, right? Just for this year. So the idea of asking somebody hey, who's a sleeper is the question of me saying hey, Stugotz, what do you want to eat? And your answer is going to be well, is it breakfast? Is it dinner? Are we going to a nice restaurant? Are we going to a diner? Are we going to a, are we getting something on the side of the road? Are we at a stadium? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, there's a zillion different ways to answer that question. And so, give me a late round sleeper. Give me a sleeper on the Giants. You know what I mean? Like, give me a pointed question. That's what I always prefer.
Matthew, I'll tell you right now, I have a simple formula for this. Okay. Everyone gets one question, right? One question. And then that's it. I'm out. Unless you're a bartender or a bouncer or someone, the general manager of a restaurant I want to get into, then they get 15 minutes of show. Then they get to ask, I'll give them the full bells and whistles. But like if you are a regular, bystander on the street, someone at the airport, and I don't have a flight to catch in 10 minutes, I will give you one question, I'll answer it, and then we keep it moving. And that has treated me well.
I love that rule. I'm going to adopt that rule. I feel like Stugotz and I talked about this at the Super Bowl. But the other rule is, and I'll shout out Gary De La Batard, Baba Booey from the Howard Stern show, is a friend. He gave me this rule, which I thought was really good too. Gary was always like he's like, the key is the second handshake. And I'm like, really, the second handshake? And he goes, yeah. He goes, a fan will come up and they'll want to shake your hand, so you shake their hand. And then to your point, like maybe you do one question or whatever, they say whatever they want to say, you respond, you talk about it. He goes, and then you give them the second handshake. And he's like, 99 times out of 100, the second handshake is that indication, like, okay,
sayonara.
Hey, we're done. We've had our moment here, and now it's time for me to go on with my life. And so I've always remembered that too. That's a strong key is the second handshake. So going forward, if you meet me, you get one question and a second handshake, and then we're done.
Matthew, what would you say, doing all these drafts that you've done, is your favorite round?
Is my favorite round?
Yeah.
I think the last couple of rounds. I mean, like, the first and second round are always fun.
No.
Like,
Matthew, just one though.
You got to pick a round.
Oh, I mean, like, I don't know, round 14, I guess.
Wow. There it is.
You get value here,
defense kicker there.
Right.
Well, no, I don't even do a kicker, but that's where in round 14, that's where my knowledge, I mean, like, because at some point there's, you're going through everyone's got, ranks in the room and whatever, but I feel like the deeper you go, that's where my research, my knowledge, that's where that helps.
So, Matthew, as I said, I give 15 minutes of show to bartenders and bouncers everywhere, but the other people I also give more time to are my celebrity friends. Who is the celebrity friend who pesters you the most for fantasy advice?
Oh, that pesters me the most.
Maybe
usually
pesters is a negative word. So
yeah, I mean, they're all really, really good. So like, I mean, there are people in my life that pester the hell out of me, that just blow up my phone. But no, there's no celebrity that pesters me the most. There's not one that I talk to, like, every single day or that kind of thing. There's, there's a bunch of them that I talk to once a week for their lineup, or they'll want to run a trade by me, or like, hey, I need a running back. Here's 3 that are on the waiver wire. Who do you like the most? That kind of stuff. But no one ever blows up my phone.
So
and also to your point, like, if they do, I don't mind it, right? They have my phone number for a reason, right? It's my version of 15 minutes of show, as you said.
So Jay-Z's not hitting you up constantly, like, just...
No. Jay doesn't even need that much. I mean, like, Jay doesn't need that much help. Jay will ask me, like, the thing that I do most with him, I think, is sometimes is like, if he's got a trade, we'll just sort of talk through, here's what happens if you do this, here's what happens if you don't, like, and, half the time I'll be like, I don't like the trade. He's like, I'm going to do it anyway. So whatever, like.
I love the idea of calling an expert and then saying, you know what, fuck your advice, I got this.
Well, listen, let's be clear about this. You do not get to the level of success that he has had, right? He is a multi-billionaire. He is he's an incredibly successful entrepreneur, singer, producer. I mean, like, you don't get to the level of success of him without being highly intelligent, very curious, and opinionated. You know what I mean? Like, the other thing about him is that, like, there's not an NFL player in the league that he can't text. Like, who's not taking his call? You know what I mean? So So sure, like I'm one opinion for him, right? But he's a very good player, and he doesn't need a lot of help.
All right, Matthew, you need to settle a furious debate we were having here behind the scenes yesterday. This is actually not fantasy related. I want you to just put your NFL expert hat on. One
Done.
game for your life, all bias aside, no injuries. Don't factor in injuries at all. One game for your life, DJ Moore or Jalen Waddle?
One game for my life, DJ Moore or Jalen Waddle?
All bias aside.
All bias aside.
DJ Moore was his answer.
DJ Moore.
Thank you.
Is it close?
Yeah, I think so, but I think DJ Moore is just a more. They're both fantastic, but I think he's a more well-rounded wide receiver at this stage of his career. I think he's more scheme-proof. He's more quarterback-proof. So DJ Moore, Jalen Waddle's got the speed, and they're both awesome, right? But like. If we're playing along with this incredibly stupid premise, then the answer is DJ Moore.
Stupid.
Okay, now factor in injuries though. Now factor in the injuries
And biases.
And biases.
Yes.
Okay, well then, yeah.
Jalen Waddle.
Yeah,
Scheme
well,
aside.
If we're factoring biases, then it's Terry McLaurin of my beloved Washington Commanders.
The scary Terry.
You're dead.
Matthew, who do you have the most exposure to this year in all your drafts?
Well, I have a ton of obviously Kyler Murray, who I announced as my fantasy football ride or die. A lot of Kyler Murray. A lot of let's see, in terms of running backs. I'm trying to think. In terms of I like Ken Walker a good amount. James Cook. Look, if you just sort of look at my love-hate, that's basically because those are all guys that I have above consensus. So I wind up with them quite a bit as well. A lot of Deontay Johnson, who I think is just going to get a massive target share. I have a decent amount of Rashee Rice. I will tell you this. I have a ton of Isaiah Pacheco, who I think is going to have a monster year. A lot of Trey McBride this year at tight end. And I will tell you that almost every draft I try to leave with Luke McCaffrey, which you're going to call me a homer, but at some point this year, Luke McCaffrey is going to be a thing. This is what I said last preseason. I said this about Tank Dell. And we were like, really? And I said, I'm promising you at some point this season, Tank Dell is going to be a thing. I believe, I don't think he's going to have Tank Dell-like year, but I do believe at some point this year, Luke McCaffrey is going to be a thing. I like Tyrone Tracy, the backup running back in New York, quite a bit as well. I like him as kind of a late-round flyer. And, in two quarterback leagues, a lot of Jaden Daniels as well. Again, my Commander's homerism, but he's going to run a ton. Jordan Love would be another guy that I think has a big year.
Matthew, speaking of Luke McCaffrey, there was 2 live drafts that I was at that they took the wrong sticker. Number 1 took Luke McCaffrey in 2 separate drafts because they just saw McCaffrey and they're like, oh, yeah, that's it. And then it's like, wait a second, no, that's Luke. And then we had to start the whole draft over again.
They should be stuck with him.
Yeah, I know. Should be stuck with him.
I was going to say, you're nicer. Because I've been in leagues where they're like, man, sticker plays, man. Sticker don't lie. You stuck it up there, dude. That's who you got.
I had someone take Glenn Gronkowski in one of my leagues once that way.
Well, for a while there, this is going old school, but for a while there was a running back on the Bears named Adrian Peterson. That wasn't the Vikings Adrian Peterson. So there was actually another running back. It was like Adrian A. Peterson or something like that. Like he was a third stringer practice squatter guy, but I was in a draft or two where somebody took the wrong Adrian Peterson. Again, that's going back in the day. I have a question for you guys.
Yeah.
I know you guys are hardcore fantasy players here. Have you guys ever heard of and or done a guillotine league?
Whoa, what's that?
Never heard of it. I've never done it.
But I want to do it now.
Okay. So I want to explain this concept to you, and I desperately want you guys to do it. And I'll explain at the end why I want you guys to do it. But I think this will be amazing. So this is a guillotine league. You have a league like normal. You draft a team like normal. The difference is that you don't play head-to-head. So you just start a normal lineup. At the end of the week, the team with the lowest score in the league gets cut.
Yeah.
Wow. Forever.
I
Their
like
season's
that.
over.
I love that.
their season's over. You keep doing that until only one team remains. Here's the other big twist. All the players on the team that got cut go back into the waiver wire.
Wow.
Oh, no.
So it's like week 6, and like Chris McCaffrey and Patrick Mahomes are on the waiver wire.
Right. Well, every week there's a whole new roster that's available on the waiver wire. I love this.
Yes.
Yeah.
And every team has star players. The other fun thing about it is that you can do two things. Number one is obviously, because you're not playing head to head, you can have uneven numbers. You can have a 13-person league, a 15-person league. As long as there is one more member in the league than weeks left in the season, like right now, you could do an 18-person league. I'm in a bunch of 18-person guillotine league drafts right now. But like with 4 weeks left in the season, you could start a league, and there's 5 weeks left in the season.
Oh yeah.
When there's 4 weeks left in the season, you could start a 5-person league. So it is. This is a format that just has the last couple of years has just started to really gain steam. And full disclosure, like Stugotz, I love this format so much. I discovered it 3 years ago. I love this format so much. I literally bought the company. I swear to God, my startup fantasy life.
Yeah.
We acquired.
Well done. Yeah.
What? I'm sorry.
Just a sounder we play. Don't worry about it. Just work right through it, man. Go.
Okay, great. Was that a look at me?
It was a look at me, Louie. Yes.
As well.
Yes.
Louis?
I liked it so much I bought it. Look at me, Louie. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, no, but I would argue that I don't know this is the full proper use of the look at me, Louie. Again, I'm certainly not claiming to be an expert in Le Batard sounders, but I would just say like this was just me trying to be full disclosure. So as like people aren't like, oh yeah, Barry's pitching this thing because he owns it, because he's got a piece of it. Like I was just trying to be more. That wasn't a brag. It was more about like, hey, full disclosure.
Right. You're telling us how much you like it. You liked it so much that you bought it. I understand.
You're not
number-wise though. How much did you like it?
You're not only a client. You're also the president.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. It's a little bit of like if you remember the old Victor Kayam. Like I like the company so much. I'm just saying I put my money where my mouth is. That's all.
Billy, are you asking how much he purchased it for?
I mean, if he wants to tell us.
Yeah. I'm gonna, whatever. Whatever I paid for it was worth every penny.
Okay.
That's what I'll tell you. No, but listen, I would. Here's why I really want Billy. This is why I really want you guys to do this, because you know what will happen if you guys do this. If you guys do a league, the person in the league that will take it the most serious will be Stugotz, and the person that will be out week 1 will be Stugotz.
Correct.
There'll be like half the league will like auto draft it or whatever, and like Stugotz, but it's incredibly fun and intense. And I highly recommend trying it. And so like whatever it's free to play. It's guillotineleagues.com. I'm getting a plug in.
We'll play it. I want a piece of the company though. Okay.
Done. All right. Done. Exactly. You want to be Stugotz? You want to be an ambassador?
Yes.
We'll get you an ambassador deal.
Yes, please. Can we get this done?
All right.
Yeah. All right. Your people talk to my people. I don't have people. Just tell them to call me. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Check out his podcast, the Fantasy Football Happy Hour. It's on Peacock and on the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. What round did you get Jaden Daniels? What round would you say is too early to take a quarterback, Matthew?
What round is too early? Obviously, it depends on your league. Like, are you in a 2-quarterback league, Superflex league, or is it a 10-person, 1-quarterback league? Generally speaking, I think I don't want a quarterback before round 4 unless I'm in a Superflex league. If I'm in a Superflex league where you're playing 2 quarterbacks, take a quarterback in the first round. I have no problem with that, right? But otherwise, I think 4th or 5th, somewhere in that 4 to 7 range. Yeah. I think it's important this year to get a mobile quarterback. It's one of the reasons I like Jaden Daniels. But like we've looked at it, and one of the reasons why, like I have CJ Stroud outside my top 5, and everyone loves CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud is awesome, but since 2020, there have literally been only 2 quarterbacks in the NFL that have rushed for less than 240 yards and have finished with a top 5 fantasy quarterback finish, and that was Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers. And both those guys threw for over 4,300 yards and over 43 touchdowns. And so it's just like there's just a much more narrow path to fantasy success if you only get points with your arm. And so that's why you see the Josh Allen, Lamar Jacksons, Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes. I have Kyler Murray at 5. Why you see these mobile quarterbacks going early, and why I would, if I don't get one of those mobile quarterbacks, Anthony Richardson's on that list as well, then I'd prefer to wait for a Jordan Love or a Jaden Daniels that you can get in the 9 to 11 range at quarterback, rather than somebody who's more of a pure pocket passer like a Stroud or a Burrow, who go 3 to 4 rounds earlier than those later guys.
All right. The podcast is Fantasy Football Happy Hour. It's on Peacock and on the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. And the website is guillotineleagues with an S at the end.com.
Yep.
Matthew Berry.
I'm part owner.
There you go.
Ambassador Stugotz. Thank you, Matthew.
Ambassador Stugotz. Hey, appreciate you guys. Always fun.
Thanks, Matt.
So, Stugotz, I realized you're probably the worst person I can talk to about this.
All right. Thank you.
Pronouncing foreign words correctly.
Yeah, tough.
I was watching the Bill Lawrence show that Billy mentioned earlier, Bad Monkey, with Vince Vaughn in it. It's a very funny show. It's a murder mystery as well, so I love those. And in the show, he's drinking on some rum, and his partner, Vince Vaughn plays a cop, his partner walks up and says the name of the rum. It's a Haitian rum. The character calls it Barbancourt. But I was introduced to this rum through my roommate who is Haitian and is a fan of the show, Carl Claremont. And Carl was the first one to introduce me to this when we were in college, and he pronounces it Barbancourt. Barbancourt, if I'm going to be really precise. And so it brought back all these feelings of, am I an asshole when I see it at a bar and I don't call it Barbancourt? Or should I pronounce it basically like an asshole, Barbancourt, or should I pronounce it like an idiot, Barbancourt? And I run into this all the time. As I said, Stugotz, I don't think you have the same sort of dilemma in your life.
I just get Tanqueray and tonics. That's it.
There you go.
Are you with Carl?
No. Like when I'm ordering these drinks?
Yeah.
No.
But you've been given the knowledge, though.
I've been given the knowledge.
So now you can't go back and stray from the knowledge you've been given.
So, full disclosure, I've been wanting to talk about this for weeks before even that episode, Bad Monkey, happened. The reason why I came up with the topic was because I was on a flight and there was a white lady, like a very, very clearly white lady, who was talking to someone sitting next to her, and she was like, "Oh, I love Colombia. My favorite place to go is Medellin." And she said it like super flavorful, but like I could tell she's just a run-of-the-mill white lady. This isn't a native who appears to be regular Caucasian. This is as Caucasian gets, and she was just flourishing her language. And I said to myself, what an asshole. But then I thought to myself, is she supposed to say it wrong? And then you sound like an idiot. So what do?
You can't stray from the good light.
I think French words in particular are difficult to know when to pronounce them because there's so many, like should I order a croissant?
Right.
Or a croissant, right? Yeah. I don't know. I mean, because we had this whole conversation with you around the Men's World Cup that was in Qatar because there was a lot of disagreement about how to pronounce that word. And I feel like you were on the other side of it in that case.
It's Qatar. It's Qatar. If I'm going to do it really right, but you guys can't make those noises.
But that makes me want to punch you in the face when you do it that way.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
Pardon me, waiter. I will have the filet mignon.
Mignon.
You pronounce half of maybe that's what you do. Pronounce half of it wrong and half of it right.
There you go.
It just
sound like an asshole is really all you
I'd probably order something else just to avoid the situation entirely, to be honest with you.
Like Stugotz,
something easier.
Yeah, something easy to pronounce. Yeah.
Or you can point at it at the menu and be like, this one right here, let me get this. And they're like, oh, excellent choice, sir.
My dad is obnoxious with that whenever we go to like a Thai restaurant or Italian restaurant. Like he has to always do it in the how it would be said.
Of course, yes.
But that's like not really, it's kind of offensive in today's society.
Your dad stopped caring. I mean,
here's a great example. In tennis, the top 3 players in the world. Number 1 is, we talked about him yesterday, Yannick Sinner, even though it's spelled with a J. We all say Yannick Sinner, right? Number 2 is Novak Djokovic. Even though it ends with a C, we say Novak Djokovic. Number 3, Stugotz, is from Spain. What's his name?
Oh, Carlos Alcaraz.
Alcaraz.
Nah, see, I don't like that. Mike does that all the time. I hate it. Carlos Alcaraz.
But do you hate it because Mike does it, or do you hate
You're
it?
showing off. I mean, it's Carlos Alcaraz. I mean, that's what it is. It's Novak Djokovic. What's the name of your rum?
Barbancourt.
It's Barbancourt. And just call it the core. Just give me a glass of the core. That's what you do. I mean, and say, listen, the people who really love it, we just call it the core.
The core.
Well, what do you mean by that? You just point to the bottle of rum.
Oh, there you go. That's the move. To give things your own nickname, right?
Yes.
Kind of like, what was that? George W. Bush used to do that, right? He couldn't remember names, so he just gave people nicknames. Hey, Pirate's Hat.
Or like Tim Apple.
Like, he knows me.
Tim Apple.
That's one of my favorites.
Oh, good times.
Barbancourt.
Barbancourt.
BBC.
Whoa.
What happened?
Take it easy.
Billy, I've seen you and Jessica talk about this a lot. and I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
The BBC?
Close. Actually, it's the BBS.
So you've heard them talk. You've watched them talk, but you haven't heard what it is they're saying?
It was on mute.
I don't pay attention.
What are we talking about?
We're talking about the
Marvin
BBS,
Court.
the Billionaire Boat Saga.
Oh.
You know what? I was with one of my friends who's from the UK. He was in town for some like F1 thing, and we got drinks with him the other night. And so apparently the
You had some
billionaire,
warm beer?
Yes, the billionaire who died in this yacht accident he has been dubbed as like the British Bill Gates. And so I asked my friend, I was like, hey, have you heard about this yacht thing? Like this billionaire died. Like, is he like a sort of a celebrity? And he was like, no, I've never heard of him before. I have no idea what you're talking about. And I was like, I feel like I've been lied to now. Really? Yes, I do.
Unknown, huh?
He was like, I don't even know.
Amongst
like,
his own
I don't even
people.
know who that is.
Interesting.
Wait.
And I'm like,
so
you guys don't like celebrate your billionaires in the UK and like turn them into celebrities? And
they do. Just one family, though.
true.
No one can be bigger than that family.
Yeah, it's so
right?
dumb. Such a dumb thing.
I know.
Like, how dare they ever speak ill of us? Right? Like, don't get me started.
Just because
on
of the royal family?
Yeah, like you guys worship you give these people your tax money to just live in a big house and travel and be rich. Like, willingly. You cried when, get out of here. Get out of here. Stop sitting down with Oprah, too. Oprah, leave them alone.
You should like them. They're the ones that defected.
I don't care. They defected. They poor defected got $500 million to defect. Oh, my God, we should feel sorry for them. Oh, Meghan Markle.
Trying to win a Sowie here? What's going on?
What is
I
happening
kind of
here?
in the middle. I was like,
Yeah.
that's dismissal.
All right, but
Early
anyways, back to
nominee,
the
I mean.
billionaire boat saga. Billy, that was a tongue twister. Billy,
Yes.
we've been texting back and forth about it. Tuxting. And what's I found difficult is that I've tried to understand boat
Science,
physics,
yeah.
boat science, and I don't. Because like there's some people that are saying like a boat this big should never be able to sink that fast, and then there's other people that are like, yeah, actually, like it could happen, like that the boat might not have just been that seaworthy. I don't know who to believe.
I think the problem is that like the boat physicists that are being turned to are on TikTok. So like you don't actually know their level of expertise on boat physics. Here's for those of you who are not familiar with the story.
Stugotz doesn't know the story.
For those of you who are not familiar with the story, so this is what happened. A billionaire, his boat was capsized, and then there were 5 or 6 people that went missing. And it was kind of a mystery. How did this happen? Stugotz immediately said, something's up. This is fishy.
Inside job. Yeah.
That's what he said.
Yeah.
Inside job. He said, there's no way that this just happened. A billionaire's boat goes out there, and all of a sudden the billionaire's missing. Something's up. And at the time, we didn't know because we didn't do any research, because apparently this guy's a secret billionaire, even amongst his own people. The more research we did, the more we found out, this person was like in some crazy lawsuit and had a co-conspirator that was involved, and then they got off not too long ago after, I think, a lengthy trial spanned over years, whatever. The co-conspirator got hit by a car while going for a run the day before, or a couple days before. So then we said, okay, seems like something might actually be up here, because why would this person get hit by a car on a run, and now this other billionaire has disappeared? So it turns out a water spout hit this boat, which doesn't seem like something you could fabricate, a water spout just coming out of nowhere and hitting this boat. How could you create bad weather, right? But only this one boat got hit, and other people that were on this boat that went missing were also described as quote-unquote bad people. And I think children passed away as well, unfortunately.
Yep.
So in the days that have
bouncy
ensued since, we've found out that they found a number of the bodies of the missing, I believe including the billionaire, has been found, and passed away. But the question remains, how did this boat sink? Because as Jess has pointed out, a lot of the boat physicists out there have pointed out this should not have happened this way. This boat should not have just capsized, because basically a water spout hit it, like essentially a water tornado hit this boat, and then all of a sudden just flipped over, and then these people disappeared. But there's counterweights, there's all kinds of things that go into these mega yachts that should prevent this from ever happening.
And Billy, to your point, I asked boat people. I was in Key West this weekend for the barbecue cook-off with Roy. Ate a lot of ribs and talked a lot of barbecue shop, but also boat shop. And I talked to some boat people. And that is, there's there's no consensus. Some boat people are like, yeah, boat should not sink. Boat that big should not sink that fast.
Yeah, but
and other boat people were like, yeah, like some of these boats just aren't made well.
Here's what happens, though.
Who am I supposed to believe?
When you don't know what's going on, you go to the TikTok, and you know what the TikTok tells you may have been involved? Submarines could have been involved in this situation, which are like, whoa,
All right,
game changer. So I thought you would like this. So then there's the question of who did this? Why did this happen? Were submarines involved? Then another theory that came out was like, well, submarines probably impractical, but what if someone was drilling holes in the boat? Oh. And then the question becomes,
sabotage.
Were they drilling from the inside or the outside?
Whoa.
Inside job.
Inside jobs.
Or outside job that was an inside job.
Yes.
The rare.
All the jobs.
Yes.
Speaking of jobs, this guy has one on Nothing Personal with David Sampson.
He has a job.
Yes, he does. It's David Sampson. He joins us every week. David, before we get to the Marlins calling up Griffin Conine, a name that may tickle some of you older Marlins fans.
Makes me feel old.
Does it?
Yes.
It makes me feel young again. It's all over. It's starting all over again. Before we get to that, though, David, a billionaire dies on a yacht in the middle of nowhere. Do you immediately say inside job?
You know, there's a lot going on with that water spout, but I've been speaking to some people. And
wow.
I got some info here.
Huh.
Here's the status.
All right.
There is virtually no way that a water spout turned up out of nowhere and took down this yacht. Now, I say that knowing that somebody wins the lottery sometimes. So there's a scintilla of a chance, like being hit by lightning. Mm-hmm. But the odds are way better, and I'm not this major conspiracy theorist, but the odds are way better that somebody like pulled the drain plug as though they were in a bathtub.
So when you say you've been talking to someone, do you mean someone named T. Talk? Is that who you've been talking to?
I'm talking about T.M.Z.
Whoa!
But they were wrong about Beyonce performing at the DNC.
They've been wrong forever
now.
Yeah,
recently.
I don't know how credible they are anymore.
It's so terrible. I was watching that night of the DNC, and people were saying who I was with, it's going to be Taylor Swift. I said, no, it's not. There is no way that her handlers are going to have her appear at the convention. It's just not going to happen. All right, it could be, what if it's a major Republican who's going to come out as a Democrat? This is going to be unbelievable, glued to the TV, minutes, hours, and you realize it was nothing. I was despondent because what a waste of time.
It was Little John, right?
I had no idea Samson was part of the Beehive. I mean...
I'm just trying to stay hip, and it's really hard as the years and decades pass to try to evoke hipness, and so I do what I can.
What do you think happened to that boat then, David?
I think that, listen, strange things happen. Is it possible the water spout came out of nowhere and took down that yacht with those people on it? Yeah, but there were some people on there that there were some other people. It's sort of like what's the name? A John Grisham movie, like The Firm. Mm-hmm. I kept thinking about the murders that took place on that Caribbean island with Gene Hackman and Tom Cruise and how weird stuff happened when they were out scuba diving. That may be a movie that none of you have ever
I've
seen.
No,
I love it.
Love
the Cayman Islands, of course.
Yeah.
The Cayman Islands, of course. That's sort of what I envisioned was going on, is there was some nefarious stuff, because I want video. I want to see what the yacht looks like 150 feet below. But by the way, it's a tragedy that the daughter died and that anyone died. That's got to be just a shitty way to go.
David, the NFL owners' meetings were yesterday, and the owners voted to allow private equity to have a stake in NFL teams. I think it's up to 10%. Mm-hmm. What does this mean for the NFL?
Well, this means that your favorite owner is going to take some money off the table and buy some yachts or Picassos or other
water
businesses. They're going to get their own water spout. Exactly. Believe me, the way NFL teams are worth now, the way they're valued, these guys can buy their own water spouts, and if they can't, they'll manufacture them.
Crazy.
And it's a pretty big deal. We cover it on the Sporting Class. Skipper Pablo and I talked about it, Nothing Personal, today. And let me just give you the summary. Basically, the NFL is following the lead of the other leagues who have allowed these private equity firms, which is just like a pool of money. Stugotz, pretend that you invested money with your friend who took everybody's money and then went out to try to buy parts of different companies, but you've never been able to buy an NFL team before as an investment. Now it's allowed. And the reason why the NFL is allowing it is because the teams are worth so much that there's a limit, contrary to what many people think at the DNC. There's a limit to the number of billionaires who can write a check to be a limited partner for an NFL team. So now this allows a group of people to put money in a fund and have that fund become an investor. Very common with leagues all around the world, actually.
So, David, explain to me what the downside was. Why was there a rule against this?
Because there was a rule in the NFL that in order to be an owner, you had to be a natural person, not an entity. And it made sense when the teams were worth less. You certainly want a person as the face of the ownership of the franchise, which is why you have something called a control person. So it's someone you can root against, it's someone you can boo, it's someone you can protest against, or it's someone you can love. It's someone to thank the fans when you win a title, holding the trophy, getting it for the first time. And the view was we need someone in our league who represents the team at meetings, who can be a part of votes, who can be a part of negotiating CBAs. We don't want to think about dealing with an entity. But then the numbers got so big that all of these teams had a bunch of limited partners. And the rule was limited partners had to be people too. And then the leagues realized, wait a minute, we can access way more money, which means teams can be worth way more. All we have to do is agree that it can be an entity. And there are certain teams, as you guys know, the Blue Jays, the Packers, the Braves are publicly owned, but there's someone who's assigned to be the face of that franchise. And so really nothing's going to change.
So there's nothing like nefarious, right? Like, because I that's what I got. The NBA allowed this a couple of years ago, I believe. The first example of this was the Qatari fund bought into the Washington Wizards, a small percentage. And I was under the impression that when that rule was basically lifted, and it is the same thing, it's like 10% is the max that you can buy into. There's this, we've lost our innocence sort of thing. But it just sounds like, hey, here's some money. Just take it, and you don't have to worry about this entity being vocal in terms of a meaningful governorship method.
Yeah, and you're talking about two things which are interesting that you're marrying, and you're talking about sovereign funds and foreign investment, and that's the Qatari fund is what invested in Monumental Sports, which owns the Wizards, of course. The interesting thing is that a lot of these private equity funds, and the NFL approved a group of only 8 funds, but there is foreign money in these funds. So if you really want to be technical and you're really bored and you're trying to just protest for the sake of protesting, you could say, look, my favorite league now is going to allow foreign investment as they try to sports launder and cover up all of the things they do against men, women, and children. And I get it. These foreign investment funds are sports laundering. They are trying to cover up the fact that they do things that are unspeakable. However, that's sort of the cost of doing business these days. And all these leagues and all of these individuals have just sort of gotten past it and realized that the amount of money available is simply too great to be ignored.
David, one of the things that happened over the last week was Deion Sanders and the University of Colorado basically banning the Denver Post columnist who they felt
banning him from asking questions.
Yes, which is a weird, I don't know.
The whole thing is weird.
Yeah.
So it's unacceptable.
Agreed.
But whose place is it to say, no, you can't do this? Is it the AD? Is it the university president? Is there a higher authority somewhere that needs to be saying this?
Yeah, I'll give you a higher authority. His name is Deion Sanders. Can you imagine that in Deion Sanders' contract, there is a provision that says he has the right to agree which media members he talks to? I've never heard of such a thing. In all the contracts I've signed with managers, with coaches, with executives, the thought of them thinking they have the power to choose who to silence and who not to Do you know how many media members I didn't like because they were mean to me or they were personal or they hated the Marlins? And we had a guy actually in Miami. Do you remember Mike Berardino?
Of course, yes.
Mike Berardino is an absolute A-hat. And he did stories about us that were so horrible that we did a silent ban of him where I didn't talk to him, and we made sure that the GMs didn't talk to him. But we definitely weren't going to be very public. We'd be off the record. We'd say, by the way, we're never talking to that guy because of how unfair he is. This Denver Post columnist, he had some nicknames for Deion Sanders. He's tough on Deion Sanders. There's no question about it. Do you know what an A-hat is? That another old word?
I assume it's an ass hat.
I know what an ass hat is.
It is an ass hat.
But I don't know what an A-hat is.
I just didn't want to say ass.
Right.
You said shit earlier.
Captain A-hat.
Mm-hmm.
Captain A-hat may have sunk the yacht.
Oh. Too soon, David.
Full circle.
Bringing it full circle. I just can't imagine the Colorado, the AD, how desperate they were that they signed a contract that allows that. I can't imagine they went public with the fact that they were doing it. I think it's inexcusable. If I am the Denver Post, I am not writing 1 column inch about the Colorado Buffaloes. Not 1 inch. If I am other members of the media around Denver, let Colorado basically suck it all the way to the side with no press at all. Make Deion speak into the abyss of nothing. Because I just
David,
think
you know that's not going to happen because Colorado gets too many clicks. Like it just does.
But David, like, don't you think the move is to look, the guy's not going to get quotes from Deion or anyone on the staff. All right, so now I have, instead of me being able to get the other side, I get to go full bias, the way you think I really am, and just roast because he's a columnist. He's not a beat writer. So he gets to roast Colorado even harder now, doesn't he?
He could. I mean, it depends what the editor wants. But yes, of course he could. But then it becomes personal, and then you lose credibility as a columnist. The whole purpose of being a columnist is that your readers look and say, wow, this is a thoughtful approach to the subject matter. And if he is just going after Deion for the sake of going after him, that eventually will turn people off. You need sort of facts behind it and even some circumstances. So I don't think that he would do that, nor do I think the Denver Post as a publication would want him to do that. I just don't agree with the ability of Deion Sanders to do that. However, the other side is interesting, which is he has the contractual right to do what he did, so we shouldn't be upset with him. It's like being upset with players for signing bad contracts. Be upset with the owners who agreed to them, not the players who took the money.
What movie are you reviewing for us this week, David?
So you guys already talked about it today. But it was on the list that I sent, so now I don't know what to do. But I watched the Told Story about the murder of Air McNair.
Right.
And I'm not going to in any way impugn Netflix, nor the way it looks on my TV. That said, this wasn't very good. I didn't learn anything. I don't expect anyone to watch it. I did a non-scientific poll of people not in my demographic. I went to 5. I moved my son into college this weekend.
Oh, congratulations.
Did you cry?
And went out. It's the final time. Final kid, final year.
Final cry?
It's the what?
The final cry?
Did you cry?
He didn't cry. David,
Come on, did you cry?
I don't think he cries. I mean,
No. I felt nothing, actually, except I don't want to get stuck in
have you ever
traffic driving
cried?
south.
Ever?
You leak oil? What happens to you?
Bridges of Madison County.
Oh, great movie.
Yeah.
I cried when she held onto the handle. Meryl Streep, obviously one of the best actresses of all time. When she holds onto that.
Movies make you
I
cry.
listen to the show, Stu.
Right, but not his family.
Yeah, not your family, but movies make you cry.
Listen, I've been working on this, spending tens of thousands of hours trying to figure out why Mean Joe Green gets a tear in my eye and dropping off a child at college does not. And all I'm saying is I don't have an answer for you.
The answer's a new therapist.
I've gone through so many. I don't know. I guess
10,000
Maybe
hours.
there's
You
a
should
new
be an expert,
generation.
according to Gladwell.
So here's the thing about Steve McNair. None of the 22-year-old seniors in college, they didn't know who he was.
Yeah.
I asked about the Super Bowl because I thought everyone knew about the yard short Rams victory over the Titans. And it turns out it happened before he was born.
Damn.
Man.
Now I feel old.
And that confused me. And then I did the math and I realized, oh, yeah, you were born the year the Marlins won the World Series, and this was 3 years prior to that. Oh, God. So to me, it's like someone asking me, do you remember the play from the 1965 Super Bowl? My answer would be, I don't even know who played in the 1965 Super Bowl. So of course they wouldn't know. And this documentary did nothing that would even garner anybody's interest in the murder. Here's what happened. Married. Affair. Oh my God. Girl goes crazy, shoots him, kills herself. Story at 11. It's like a Tuesday.
If they rename the series Retold, do you think that you'd have a different perspective on it? Because to Jeremy's point, like maybe their target audience are people that don't actually know the stories to begin with, and they're just sort of rehashing things that most sports fans are already aware of. But by naming it Untold, they're implying that they're doing like additional reporting that I have not found to be true in any of these.
Well, there's definitely no additional reporting. And my thing is that if there's a documentary that has a running time below 60 minutes, I have the feeling that there's nothing good happening. Now, there are great shorts, but this is sort of the tweener. And I think that I think it has to be 80 minutes or more for someone to say, hey, this is going to go deep. This is going to give you information you didn't have, or this is a compelling story. And I just don't view the Steve McNair story as compelling. I didn't when I first knew about it, and I certainly didn't after this documentary.
There was no Super Bowl in 1965. Know your Super Bowls, David.
Thank you, David Sampson. Nothing personal with David Sampson.
NFL championship.
Chris in the break was all flustered and all like
he was
huffing and puffing. I said, "What's wrong with you, man?" He's like, "I want to talk about Mike White."
You guys see this?
I just like, is this dude even in the league?
Yeah, he's on a practice squad. He was with the Dolphins. He was fighting for this backup with Skylar Thompson.
Right.
Mike White has a bigger contract than Skylar Thompson, so the Dolphins just made the decision we're going to keep the cheaper guy. So they let Mike White go. Some were expecting him to clear waivers and come back and be like our third string for cheaper. But someone picked him up for their practice squad. Imagine that. The Buffalo Bills. And look, I get this from the Buffalo Bills perspective.
Espionage.
Hey, this guy knows the entire playbook for our biggest rival. Let's bring him in. But if you're Mike White, do you play ball? It's like you've been friends. Like there's no
Checks are cashing,
there's no
buddy.
relationships here. Like you're just like, oh, Bills, I've hated you for a year because I've been on the Dolphins, but I'm just gonna, come right.
It's not just that. He's from South Florida.
Here's all of our signals. Here's all of our. I know you're using me. If I'm Mike White, I'm like, I better be on the 53-man roster, or I better get like double the practice salary, the practice squad salary, because I know why you're bringing me in here.
Chris, you said he's from South Florida, right?
Yes.
What if he's a double agent? The
Okay.
Dolphins cut
Sabotage
him,
him.
Wow, inside
knowing
job.
that the Bills now need a backup because I think Mitch Trubisky get hurt in the preseason, Tony?
Yo.
So they need
I
a backup.
Just telling all the wrong signals.
They need a backup, so they pick up Mike White. He's going to either lie or he might steal some of Buffalo's signals and send them back to Miami. Maybe he's just a double agent. Like
I just
Miami
feel
may
like-
have planned this all along.
Guys, if I get let go from here and I end up like in the practice squad for Pat McAfee, I'm not
Right.
giving up all the goods. I've developed relationships with all you people. You think I'm just gonna go in and tell Pat McAfee everything about Stugotz, all his secrets?
No.
So you leave here and you intern for the Pat McAfee
I'm
show?
just saying.
Be an
like,
odd
I would
career
hopefully-
choice.
I would
yeah.
obviously.
How are the
hopefully-
But you wouldn't
I
give
would-
away the secrets.
I
is
would
what
aim a
you're
little
saying.
higher. I'm
right.
just doing a hypothetical.
Okay,
here.
but you wouldn't give away the secrets. to
hold on,
Pat.
Chris.
I would know. Okay, you're bringing me in clearly to see how the Le Batard sausage is made here.
Right.
So I'm gonna negotiate that. I'm gonna be like, pay me double the practice squad guy. Give me guarantee that I'll be on. Like I don't know. I'm just.
But
not,
you're a starter here, Chris. Like you're a
thank
starter
you.
on this team.
I'm just trying
yeah.
to find an example. And
I got
But it's
you.
true. But
Right.
but just to Jess's point, what if we sent Chris to the McAfee show to tell them
Or Dan Patrick.
or Dan
to
Patrick
give him bad ideas.
bad ideas?
Yeah.
and then he just get to do what he's doing right now.
Okay.
If there was a head coach I could think of in the NFL that would try to deploy this strategy, it would be Mike McDaniel.
So what do you have to slide? Like if you're someone at the Dolphins, you slide Mike White like $1 million check under the table, and you just say, "Here's a milli."
Someone from the Dolphins
we're gonna
has to
cut ya.
tell McDaniel, listen, we know the Bills will sign him if you release him. We know it. We know it. And then you release him, and then Mike White joins the Bills, but you're paying Mike White. The Dolphins are to be on the Buffalo Bills.
I
all
just
right?
know that
off to the side. He
that
can't.
first practice. If I'm Mike White, I'm
No
not playing ball.
W-2s,
I'm
yeah.
not playing ball. I'm kind of sitting back, like I'll talk to you guys in a little bit. I'm not like first day. I'm not giving up all the. I got to read the vibes.
Hold on.
I got to see.
Make sure I'm going to be here a while.
Did you bring me here just for this? Like I got to figure it out.
You have him being interrogated like in the Kremlin or something? Like, hey, give us all the goods right now?
I just have him walking into that first quarterback meeting and sitting back like, I'm not going to say much this first practice.
Okay,
I'm
so
just gonna sit in
first
here.
of all, if he's supposed to be the guy that you signed to give info, you wouldn't have him in the quarterback's room. You'd have him with the defense, right?
That's true.
That's
like saying all the signals.
him
and
telling
stuff.
Josh Allen, "Hey, by the way, this is what Tua likes to do." Like that's not.
Now you're just if I'm like that, if they tell me, hey, by the way, you're in the wrong meeting room, you're supposed to be in the defense telling us all the Dolphin signals, I'm like, screw you guys.
But then, you know how much Mike White?
They're paying you.
You know,
Peanuts.
you guys don't.
He's just saying he would dip his toe in the water just to get a vibe, just to see what's going on there.
I feel like I would not if I'm Mike White, because you would agree. I think Mike White isn't he like is he upper echelon backup? No, I guess not. I mean, he just got cut. I feel like if I'm Mike White, I'm not just going to take this pity, I want all the information job. Like, I'm going to actually look for someone who actually wants me for me.
Mike White, who just got cut, but he did get guaranteed at signing $4.5 million when he signed his 2-year, $8 million deal. Like, I kind of feel like, is a milli worth, like, just ruining your reputation?
And living in Buffalo.
It's not just a milli, though. It's if he's really spying on behalf of the Dolphins, he's getting whatever deal they cut him, but also a share of whatever the Super Bowl winnings are, a share of glory. He might get a ring
They're
under
not
the
doing all
table.
that.
Yes,
They're not
You know what I
giving
mean? There's something going on here. I'm with Chris. This is very fishy.
It sounds
Something's going on.
And if you're a good spy, you go in there and you give them the first thing you say. Give them a good piece of information. Give them something accurate.
So they
Give
know
them
you're
something
serious.
that you
They know
can
you're
use,
good. Yeah.
And they'll use it, and they'll
Right.
say, all right, He's on our side. And then everything else from
More
then
money.
on out is bullshit.
Once they figure out that he's a double agent, it gets real uncomfortable. Perhaps even Sowie award-winning uncomfortable. It's the Sowies for most uncomfortable moment.
And now the Sowie nominees for most uncomfortable moment. Greg gets upset about a picture of a mostly naked man that is definitely probably not him.
Because I wrote Greg Cody's foreword to a book that he's publishing.
For the love of God.
And he read that foreword and was moved by it. He then allowed me to run the photo after Enough is Enough of him in New Orleans drinking too much during Mardi Gras.
Okay, I allowed you to run it to make fun of it, not thinking that you would say that it's me when it isn't me.
Okay, when I so serious about it.
Because it's ridiculous. Because I don't want anyone to think that's actually me. And for him to say that it is, that's what makes me mad. I agreed to let you use that ridiculous photo to make fun of the photo, but to actually say that it's me is absurd. It's an insult to me. It's embarrassing.
You're a Miller Lite drinker. You'd never have a drink like that.
It's embarrassing to me.
Okay, all right.
Brandon Tierney confronts Stugotz about WFAN.
Do I love him coming in here all the time, talking about other people's jobs? No.
You're right.
I don't.
You're right.
I don't.
I agree with you.
And you know, that needs to be said.
Yes.
You know, but coming on our turf.
You're right.
And being so free with people's jobs.
Yes.
Somebody's got to speak up and defend the station.
Mike Ryan wants Amin's dream.
What's going on with these two? What's going on with Mike and Amin right now?
It's just everyone's doing their own thing. I'm trying to produce a goddamn show over here, and no one's listening. No one's listening. We'll do it live. No one's listening. 4 minutes now. Give me the dream.
He's got a good point here. It's been 4
Just
minutes.
give me the dream.
4 minutes and
Let's
nothing.
move on. Give me the dream. I'm trying to do a show here. Like you're going to clips that I said weren't good enough for the show. You're just doing your own thing. Just give me the shitty dream. Let's move on and get to Kyle Brandt.
Dan Le Batard leaks Taylor's Roy Williams story.
Taylor told me a story when I came in today about an embarrassment that he had that he called his greatest embarrassment as a human being, in which he accidentally texted University of North Carolina basketball coach Roy Williams an assortment of replacements that he thought should replace Roy Williams when he retired, because he should retire. He didn't mean to send that directly to Roy Williams.
He also didn't mean for that story to make air.
Yep.
He mentioned that.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
On the front end.
I didn't even hear that.
Yes.
I didn't even hear that part.
How convenient.
I didn't hear it.
Leaky faucetard.
He has Roy's number, huh?
Can you guys help him?
Did Roy respond?
Can you guys help?
We tried. We said, don't look at Dan in the eyes, don't talk to him. And he broke that rule, so he had it coming.
Deshaun Foster's introductory press conference at UCLA.
It's us and USC. We
Wow.
And in closing.
Jeez. I'm just basically excited. So that's it. Any questions?
Oh, God, that was hard to watch.
Greg discovers fisting.
Hold your breath here.
Fisting, also known as fist handballing, is a sexual activity that involves inserting one or more into someone.
Breathe out.
Please breathe in. Put your arms in the air.
And you know it. Our entire interview with the sex therapist.
Do you know what the perineum is? The gooch, the taint?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, wait.
Not your
Follow-up
ass,
question
not
for a
your,
friend.
Not your balls.
Follow-up
Yes.
for a friend. Is that the same as the grundle, or is that different? April, you mentioned the clitoris. Asking for a friend. How does one find that?
My issue is that I have a hard time waiting the time it takes to pleasure a woman because I can be much faster and I've got other stuff I want to be doing. So my issue is, what is the way, without thinking of your grandmother, to make it last longer?
Okay.
David Sampson asks Pablo Torre if he has a cock ring.
I think she told David Sampson to buy a cock ring.
She did.
Yeah.
You have that?
All right, count us in for postgame, guys.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So as you might imagine, we are very mature and in no way have been having a side private conversation about the conversation we just had. David Sampson just asked me if I have a cock ring.
Is that a personal question?
Dan makes it weird talking about Adam Schefter's mom.
Is Mina going to talk to Adam Schefter's mom this week? I don't think so.
I did not say that God Bless Football was not.
I met her in an elevator on a cruise ship. Small world.
Where else are you getting that information?
Exactly right. I talked to an insider's insider.
I did not say that God bless. Well, he was inside her.
Dan. Whoa. Dan.
Oh, yeah.
Graphic.
Dan.
She gave birth to him.
Dan.
It's
Oh, wow.
breaking news.
Great timing.
Dan Le Batard ruins Amin El Hassan's Wizards story.
For those who don't know, I walked around the entire arena yesterday showing people this clip because it's amazing.
It's true, he did.
So the Hawks are coming down. They hit ahead. There's a steal. Kuzma gets it. He pitches ahead to an uncontested Jordan Poole, who throws it up off the glass.
They're down 20.
Wow, Dan, I'm telling the story. I'm telling the
You
story.
just took his punchline, man.
God damn it, Dan. That was the whole point of the story.
You should go to Oddball.
Oh, I am going to go to Oddball.
Yeah.
Man.
I'm sorry he did that to you.
Storytelling. Learn it sometime.
So what happened?
Our attempt to interview Pete Rose.
Even the potential for
Pete, you got me? Mr. Rose?
Perhaps like what we've seen against the concert hall.
Pete!
What's your best?
Pete Rose! Hey, King!
Hey, $20 for an autograph.
Pete!
Pimlico.
Charlie Hustle!
Hawaii football.
Which is
Ellie De La Cruz.
Which
Chris Sabo. Austin Kearns.
Pete, you got us?
Willie Mopena.
Pete, you got me? Pete Rose.
Pete. We actually have investigation.
Ken Griffey Sr. Ken Griffey Jr.
Can't hear you.
Oh, hello, sir. Sir, can you hear us?
Pete,
Hello,
Pete.
Pete.
We got you.
Hear you.
Hello?
Oh, you can't hear us.
Okay.
Danny, you said he could hear us.
I'm concerned about those.
Try turning the TV up a little.
Might be my supplement, but I'm in on whatever is going on in the background. Hello, sir?
Charlie Hustle and the Matter of Pete Rose. It's HBO's original docuseries. First 2 episodes premiere on HBO tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern. The last 2 episodes air tomorrow, and all 4 hours will be available on Max starting later today. That was Pete Rose, our exclusive interview. This was his first interview about that documentary. Thank you, Pete.
The shipping container debrief how Dan announced Lebo's passing.
How many people talked to Dan before we went on air today? Because I had a full conversation with him in the kitchen and had no.
He didn't mention it?
He didn't say anything?
Not even a hint of it. We were laughing and joking about something.
Probably skipped his mind.
I saw him at this.
I'm so bad with death that is not something that you should spring on me. Yesterday, we were planning on doing the show. Dan was here on the meeting, and then he was gone. And then I slotted into this seat, too much fanfare. And I was prepared to do the exact same thing. And then I saw that Dan was here. And Dan didn't take part in the meeting. He just kind of went to this room, understandably, actually not understandably, where he finds the strength to even do the show. Yeah. It tells you a lot that this show does bring him some relief. So as bad as it ever may feel for you guys, and the occasional good show that you're like, hey, you guys have been there for me. I guess there's something to it because we were kind of there for Dan. Could have done without the surprise. That's just me.
So, Mike, your biggest complaint about everything this morning is how it affected you?
Yeah, Dan should have workshopped it. With
Always.
Just we're all complaining.
That's my just we're clear.
Billy Gill, dressed as an old-timey baseball player, interrupts Dan's painful interview with Rob Delaney.
I feel like I lost a son because I raised him.
Yeah, it's brutal, and I'm glad that you are talking about it. I'm so incredibly sorry. I'm glad that you're crying and that people can hear that, because the pain.
There's an
truly
old-timey
is.
baseball player here, Rob. Like what? Yes, thank you. Like I can't cry in front of these people. Do you know how weak it is? Do you know? I'm a blubbering idiot, Rob. I need this to be funny. Like, look, there's an old-timey baseball player, Rob.
I know. Billy Gill crushes butterfly garden seconds before learning Lebo's funeral will be at one.
My wife is so mad. My wife
About football?
Yeah, well, because it comes in and eats up our Sundays, and we should be at Butterfly Gardens.
Sad places, Butterfly Gardens.
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah, because you know they're all going to be dead in like 3 days.
I think my brother's service is going to be at one.
Oh.
Jeez.
Lovely places, Butterfly Gardens.
Brad Williams fears he is the show's curse.
Listen, all I know is the last time I was in this studio, there was a blackout. Oh yeah. And now I'm back. So I just hope nothing disastrous happens to anyone on this show today. You know.
Anything else?
Never have me on this show again. Never. Massive blackout, close family member passes away. If I'm back on the show, your team tells me, all right, do you have all your affairs in order? Maybe you guys should have your affairs in order. I'm so sorry to be back here and causing this.
Go sit in the penalty box. Go ahead and just get out of here.
5 minutes for saying I'm sorry.
It's not for the I'm sorry. It's for killing my brother.
Dan Le Batard calls Dan Patrick Dave.
Oh, you're saying that's about 13 wins. He has to go to the Super Bowl?
Dan, I am scared to have hope.
You just call me Dave?
I did call you Dave.
That's a fun. Yeah.
My brother died.
But you're still proud of me.
All right, forget about the fun.
I mean, my brother died. His name is Dave. I'm saying it all the time lately.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't play that card.
It's a good card to play, Dan. It's pocket aces.
The dead brother card?
I know, but I'm not playing my dead dad card.
Did he die 2 months ago?
Yeah, it feels like that.
No, that doesn't feel like that. Did he die 2 months ago? Your little brother. Dave.
Dan plays the "my brother died" card in response to a Billy Gill question.
Has anyone ever cried off of something that they were reading off a piece of paper?
I just gave my brother's eulogy.
Jeez.
I mean, you asked.
Walked right into that one.
You asked.
Got your ass, Billy.
You asked.
You like that card.
I mean, you asked.
Feel like I'm off the hook. The dead brother card.
Le Batard Show masseuse Genesis has her foot in Stugotz's ass.
Genesis's foot is in my ass right now. It's killing me, Dan.
Deeper.
Yes, deeper, Genesis. But she's just getting
Do it with your hands.
She's just starting.
Ah!
Greg Cody calls Mike Ryan a giant infant. I don't deserve it.
All right.
And you're a fool for saying it.
Okay.
You're a fool.
I was kind of following you.
calling somebody else
you're
an
locking in
idiot.
right now? You're locking in on us?
Yeah,
All
right.
Let's drop the gloves, pal. Let's drop. You should be thanking me.
For what?
Every day.
For what?
For what I've done around this character. And the second shit gets real for you, you want to come at me and call me a fool? Huh? Yeah, no. Seriously.
Jeremy
pal.
just whispered,
I've added 10 years to your career. You want to call me a fool?
Wait a minute.
You'd be toiling away. You'd be Michael Yormark.
Oh, no.
You
Wait a
owe
minute.
me everything.
Oh, no.
You owe me everything.
You have added 10 years to my career?
Yes, I have.
This man has.
You
haven't.
That man.
Who the hell
let
are
me tell you, I am
Who the hell
you
are
should be
you?
thanking.
Bullshit.
Me.
You're a rude young man.
You're a fool.
You're a
fool.
I already called you
You're
a fool.
Right
you can't
back.
call me a
You're
fool.
an idiot again.
It's a
You're
fool-off.
an idiot twice. You're an idiot for dismissing how much I've helped you. You are a fool.
You're nobody.
You are an infant.
You
have no
nobody
thick skin.
to me.
Where was was me and Izzy.
Oh my God.
That was like 2 years ago.
You are nobody
last
to me.
year.
Yeah, but it's a Sowie for this year.
No,
it was like last summer.
It was for last year.
It was last summer.
So it would have been before. You should have complained last Suey's.
Yeah.
What the hell, man?
There was also, Chris, something that you forgot to add that I do think we should play.
This one we definitely should play. The Ronnie Chang interview.
Like
right now?
What is it? What is it?
No, we don't. I have to grab it.
You're
we
in
can play it
control.
later.
Okay.
But,
Why'd you toss it?
You said it.
that was my bad.
You
That was
said it
my
like you
bad.
had it. Right.
No, I just forgot his name, honestly.
Oh.
We should play this.
Did I
the
miss the
uncomfortable
giant
moment.
infant thing?
Oh,
Was
yeah.
that in there? I think I was laughing over it.
Yeah, no.
He called him a. Yeah,
Okay.
He called him a
Yeah.
giant
Oh man,
infant.
I might need to go back and just listen
No,
to that
that-
one myself.
At one point, I didn't hear it the first time. He's like, "You are a rude boy."
You are a rude young man.
Your dad was legit mad.
He's
right?
never sounded older.
I think
sounded
Mike
like they
thought
were-
he was joking.
I
though.
think Mike was a little heated there.
Was he mad more there or at the LSU thing?
Oh, the
LSU thing to start,
yeah,
he's pissed.
Yeah, like that one, I heard his voice crack when he's talking about like I'm embarrassed because it's not me.
The best thing about my dad is it's usually genuine with him. He's rarely acting.
No, this was 100% serious, and this was I was like out of town that day or something, and like I got so many text messages about this Mike and Greg argument. Everyone thought it was real because I think it was real.
It was real.
For Greg,
at least
at
on
least.
Greg's side, I laughed my ass off when it happened. It is one of the funniest things we've ever done on this show. Dude, none of these shits that would make me really uncomfortable. They're all funny. They're all hilarious.
That's kind of the idea.
Although really, really heavy on the Dan's brother.
Well, I mean,
died
it was-
like that should have been its own category.
The death card.
The Billy and the old timey baseball, like just them cutting to that during that was one of the funniest things all year.
There was also an uncomfortable moment that got nominated for funniest moment yesterday that maybe should win both, which happened when we were in Vegas on stage.
The You God, Dan.
Oh, yeah.
It's a tough one.
Who among us, right?
Who among us? All right. We've got our Dolphins training camp series coming up next. It's Robert Craycraft.
River.
Robert Kraft.
That's a fine.
Damn it. Patriots owner. The Patriots owner.